Hey, we're live.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, this is Vigilante. We're here on the 66th episode. It's an ominous number. But it's of Culture
Bum,
Crime
bum,
Fighters.
bum.
Yeah, and actually, the point is to not be conspiratorial. Jeesh. But I'm joined by my partner in Culture Crime Fighting, none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Luke, with the Foulball.
Luke. He's going to be doing the show tonight. It'll be much more entertaining.
Yeah,
How's it going, Vigilante Williamson?
it's going. It's going.
It is going indeed. Well, no, wait. Okay, so when it comes to the conspiracy thing, we're just going to start right there. We're just going to start.
Yeah.
We're gonna, off and running.
I
No
want to start with
banter.
the J-Lo thing.
No small talk. We'll get there. But what you were because you just said that about you're not trying not to be so conspiratorial. It's not that. It's the pessimism around the conspiratorial that I am personally over.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't want to be black pilled on life. I don't want to think, oh, it's all this or it's all that. Like, it's healthy to know it to a degree, but when it's pessimistic, it serves no one. It's not helpful.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, you have it. You know what? One of the hardest things on earth in life to me is scaling things, or I mean, that's not the right word, but portioning things. That's probably another word, right?
What's the moderation?
Moderation, yes. Doing things in moderation is a difficult subject in general for me, right? And I think
Same.
Yeah, I think we talked about a little of that at the pre-show, and I got so many similar issues myself. So, doing things in moderation is an issue, and pessimism with no moderation can drive anyone crazy. Hell, even moderate pessimism, man, the world is getting rougher. Is something to understand, but in order to succeed, I have to be even more like focused and more positive and more in a better space. You know what I mean? It makes it even like more required that I be healthier, so to speak. Therefore, I
Yeah.
need to moderate this pessimism or the pessimistic energy that I get from talking about these subjects, talking about them in the same way, whatever it is, different news subjects. We were going over the news, same thing, pessimistic, someone died, this city under tactical alert. Oh, it's negative, negative, negative. It's like you can only deal with that so much.
I
We're not
agree,
meant to
and
deal with this so much.
not
Go ahead.
it's not a healthy mentality. Like I was reading this book a few years back, audiobook called "How Champions Think" by Dr. Bob Rotella. He's a sports psychologist, and he's worked with people like LeBron James. He's worked with, I don't know about Tiger Woods, but like people of that caliber
Yeah.
in athletics, right? And he basically, the whole idea of the book is, from his finding, what he learned about working with these extraordinary people and how they accomplish these extraordinary things. And one of the characteristics he says about extraordinary people is they are relentlessly optimistic. To the point where it's almost delusion.
That makes sense though, because how else can you be in the NBA, NFL, and at a high level if you didn't have just unbelievable
Pathological belief in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get more belief in myself than I currently just more. I don't need
yeah.
pathological.
How about some?
Yeah.
I'd like just a little.
Yeah. Just like, can I get to level, can I get a 4 out of 10? These guys are 100,000 out of 10. Let me just get to a 4. I would be happy to be there.
Well, that's something you can change, right? That's up to you.
Yeah.
It's just literally just believing in yourself. Like when that doubt comes in, don't run with it.
Yeah.
I think. I don't fucking know. I have no self-esteem.
But no, I think there's something to that. You just gotta, because how else are you gonna get whatever you need to get done in order to be good or great or whatever the
Honest
scale
to
that you're
God.
aiming for? You have
You
to get
gotta
stuff
believe.
done. You have to. Man, I've been talking about reading audio books, which I know it's just listening. I know you because we are premiering this, so I'm hopefully in the chat messing with you guys.
Woohoo!
But I was the Atomic Habits, and I was getting through
Yeah.
that, and I'm trying to establish more positive habits. I figured like, okay, if I establish even small habits, even the classic Jordan Peterson, clean your room, simple stuff like that, hopefully it leads to better things. And it's slowly but surely. I'm not perfect, but that's the goal. I'm trying to listen to books about habits, and because that's how success is done, right? Repeating. If you repeat certain habits, you get a result, and if you repeat that result and improve upon that result, things will go in whatever direction that you want, whether it's a positive or negative one. So I'm trying to push things in the positive one. That's kind of
I
the theme of
look,
the show.
I am with you, man, and it's something that I struggle with. I tend to be negative. I tend to be pessimistic. I'm working on it. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's serving me. I don't think it's making me a better creator. I think it's just making me a fucking drunk. So I don't think
No.
it's working. But I was listening to Max. Max Field Von Priestley,
Hey.
shout out, hail, and I became a member of his channel. You should too.
Hey.
But I meant the Royal You, whomever's listening.
No, I should. I haven't really checked. Like I said, I've been kind of not watching anything. That's not my, Just you check
But
them out.
But yeah, no, I generally don't either. And it's not that I'm not a fan, it's I just don't get the notifications. Well, today I got the notification, so I checked it out. And the dude is positive. Homie is positive. Like, even if he is talking about like negative stuff in the media or comic books or whatever, he's a very positive, likable guy. And
That's good.
I was like, shit, like I don't think I'm likable. No, I don't think I don't necessarily have that positivity, and I like that he has that positivity. Like I respected it, and I thought it worked really well for him, and I was like that's cool. It makes you want to hang out with him. You want to be around, because it's like he's positive. Like that's a good thing. It attracts people.
Yeah.
The pessimism repels people for the most part.
Yeah. But I mean, it has to be a genuine positivity, though. You got to be a positive person,
right? You can't be fucking Wendell.
Yeah, Window.
Hey guys, you just gotta look at things on the bright side.
Like you can't be full of shit. You have to. It does kind of come from a true place, but that's like something you internally have to, cultivate.
Yeah. Like everything, it takes time. It takes time. Man, life is a fucking journey. That brings us back to Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So,
I wanted to hear what you were saying about that.
That's some life is a journey shit. They've been on and off for like 20 years, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a long ass time, right? To have been like on and off penetrate. Because we only know of a few occasions where they were dating.
Right, that's true.
They're human beings. They could have been fucking a lot more throughout this 20-year period.
I mean, I used to smash my exes.
Yeah. And it's like 20 years you do that with a person, you might just say, man, let's just go ahead and get married.
It's an interesting one, but were you going to make a point about it with a celebrity or something? Because I felt like you were ramping up to make a point, and then we just started the show.
No, but that actually was the point. Is
okay.
The idea of they're celebrities, but that's not an uncommon thing for humans. Like I know they're celebrities.
Oh,
so
I see.
Who knows? It could be different. It could be a publicity. It could be a lot of things. But normal people do things like this. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
right,
you've been kicking it with this person on and off for like years, and you just decide, you know what? We've been dating on and off 20 years. Let's get, in the past year and a half we've been dating. Let's get married. Fuck it. Then you're 50.
It's kind of sweet, right? Like because they're like a celebrity couple, but it's like they reconciled. Like, so you think about it, right? Like Ben Affleck's had like all this affection for J-Lo all these years, and so did she for him, and it's just, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, there's something sweet to that.
Yeah, it's almost like a real life rom com almost, which they did a bunch of. Which did the one? Was they Jilly them?
What's that?
Geely or whatever that shitty. Well,
I think that was them. Yeah.
But like, it was like they're a real life rom com. Which, granted, I mean, both of them fucked a lot of different rom com actresses, so they could have all ended up that way. But I mean, in all seriousness, it is like a real life rom com. Like I said, it does happen. Which is just kind of.
There's hope out there for us yet. Vidge. Yeah. It's like when you see the pictures of them two together, which, I mean, it's not like I looked this up. It was on the Daily Mail, but it's like that's kind of weird. Like, it's like these two got married. Like, that's kind of like, you just kind of like, oh, that's odd that they're together. But then you're right. Like, they're people.
Yeah. The day before I think a couple times even before. I don't think this is their first reconciliation. And again, we don't know what happens in between these records. I mean, these are all human beings, and you think of what you do or your friends do, and then you just like they're the same people. They're just
Right?
rich. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They do the same thing because, I mean, especially the older you get, the less people you really want to be around, right? So you just end up being around the people you're used to being around because you don't really want to expand that circle the older you get. When you're young, you're like, yeah, I want like thousands of people to know me and just have everyone be my friend. And then you get older, you're like, I just need the essentials. Like, you know what I mean?
It's tiring to cultivate relationships,
Yeah.
especially if they're not attached to anything like this, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't difficult for our friendship to grow because we are constantly talking to each other and it's like work related, right? Like we're making a product, right? So it's like it's not there's no effort involved, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like, but with people that you just meet, it's like you have to like, and you got to put on like a good side of your personality, which is tired. It's like dating. It's kind of like you're courting a friend.
Yeah, man. So that's why I don't really know how to do that. I don't know how to human, man. I've never known how to human. That's why, like, I'm nervous meeting people. Like, I'm cool going around with strangers, but like, oh man, I was actually just talking about this when I was streaming. I met you. I met 24. I'm nervous to meet other people in real life, right?
But it's weird though. It's because it's
Yeah.
very. I was very nervous to meet you too, but because it's weird. It's like. It's the bizarre nature of it. It's the fact that I know you, but I don't know you.
Yes. I only see you once in real life. I've talked to you for hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And when this whole human like materialized in front of me, like this disembodied voice was now in a body. I was like, this is
real?
insane. This is weird.
Yeah, this person I've seen it all the time. I was like, damn, he's right here. And I'm
He's a human. He's a whole
talking
man.
to him. Yeah.
And there's just a vibe with people that like when you're in each other's space that we have not established because we don't hang out. So it's like that is a real thing. Like when I first met Jake D, he was the first person I met in real life, and that was at the hotel at the Luxor in Vegas, and it was fucking weird. I was uncomfortable. Like I don't know this man, but I know this man.
Yeah. Very weird.
But it's not like that now because now I know Jake. Now I've seen Jake, a dozen times or whatever it is, half a dozen, however long it's been. But like we drove up and back from here to Dallas. You know what I mean, for the meetup. There's almost 5 hours in the car or something like that. And it wasn't weird. It wasn't uncomfortable at all. Now I know, I know Jake. I'm comfortable in his presence. But like when you just meet someone off the internet, it's for me as someone who's kind of got social anxiety anyway, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's weird because that's how a lot of relationships in general build. Like, okay, you know this person through the internet, then one day you meet in person. I mean, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's fucking really weird. And when you're in a room full of these people, it's even weirder.
Yeah, that's why I can't go to Vegas, but I'm like,
it sucks you can't go.
but I really just rather go to Vegas. Like, I really don't. Like, Wake Down and said in the chat, like he wanted to go to Vegas, and then he was thinking of the rest of the week around meeting everybody, like more than anything else. Like he was just trying to be in Vegas. You know what I mean? Which I'm like, I kind of am too. Like I do want to meet people. I would like to meet Gary. I would like to pick his brain.
It's fucking cool, dude. No,
It would be weird though, and I'm scared of offending them.
It is weird, but it's weird for everybody. So you're all like, what's so cool about it is that you're sharing this experience, right? It's a shared environment. It's a shared.
The hell is that? Been isolated for 2 years. What do you mean sharing experience?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like but everyone is we all have certain touchstones. We know we're all nerds right off the bat. So that's not going to be socially awkward if you bring up some comic book you're reading. You know what I mean? Which is like, it's touch and go, hit or miss when you're with real people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when you're, it's like, or you might have some base take about politics. No one's going to bristle.
Yeah. What if you have a less than based? What if you're a little left leaning where they punch you in the dick? Like, it's comedy.
Right in the dick. No, they're not. Like that's the thing. They're not. That's not this community of people, right? That's not how these people are and think, and that's probably why everyone's gravitated to it. It's not like a Ben Shapiro meetup.
That would be. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't want to. I'd have no desire. I'd have no desire to meet up with any of these like network, like these weird. Like I'm not trying to say weird because Ripper's on Blaze, but just I just like this like I political commentators of all kinds kind of what's the
They
not,
serve a purpose, though. I think I
Yeah.
know what you mean. Like, I don't know how you could talk about that all day, every day, and not be a crazy person.
yeah, they all come off a bit like okay, man,
It's your
go
shtick. It's like an
yeah.
angle. You know, it's
like
not
yeah.
like there's a comedian, Nick DiPaolo. Do you know Nick?
I've heard the name. I probably would know him if I heard him / seen him, but I don't know him like that.
He's very funny, but he's just a very angry political guy, and he's very right wing, and he always has been. And he makes good points, but it makes me uncomfortable. Like I want to like Nick more than I do. Like he's
Yeah.
just so pissed, and you're like, all right, I need distance. But any of those people that are that, you know, wrapped up in that thing all the time, even if it's not from an anger point of view, I just kind of feel like, I don't know. But what I was going to say is they do serve their purpose, because today I was actually checking out some PragerU videos, because every once in a while I kind of just want like dry, like informative content. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I sneezed, but
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was gonna make a joke about PragerU, like very educated right wing of you.
They have,
What
I think they have good stuff. I like PragerU. Not all the time, but I like some of their things. Like some of their things are pretty interesting. Like that's when I first learned what intersectionality was.
really?
Yeah, I didn't really know what it meant until they had their video about. I mean, this was like 3-4 years ago, but I mean, still, it was like I didn't know exactly what that meant until I saw them break it down. I'm like, oh, okay. Like every once in a while, it's like so they do serve their purpose. It's kind of like the library. Like it's there if you need it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was listening to one of their videos today, and it was. Do you know that black girl who does the PragerU stuff?
Of course, it starts with race with you. No. I do not actually. I like I said, I don't
Easiest
really,
way to distinguish someone. I don't know her name. She's pretty cute and she's pretty based. Like
Okay.
she's an interesting chick. Like she has I mean, she's a political person, so everything I ever see from her is political. But I think she kind of has like a Carrie Smith sort of journey where she was like pretty cooked for racial politics and politics in general, and then liberate herself from it, and now is like a conservative commentator. But it's kind of funny, like even the conservatives are casting like strong female women of color.
It's all a gimmick, man. That's just the way it is, man.
But she is a good host. So the difference with this one versus Marvel is in Marvel, no one likes it. In here, she's actually really interesting. So it's like, whatever. But it is, I mean, there's a strategy behind that. Like, they have another girl who's really fucking cute. This pale skinned girl with dark hair. She's sexy.
See, they cater to all the markets on the hub. That's what you do.
It's working.
And listen, if y'all don't understand why the hub exists, it's market research.
Who the fuck doesn't understand why Pornhub exists?
But no, like they do use
Who's just confused, like completely
No.
befuddled? How does this thing make money? Why are people on this site?
some people don't even care. They're just busting nuts. They don't think about it. They don't even think about like, no, it's there to collect information about what you like, and then they literally translate that into other things that you would never think of because you've already expressed the sexual desire. Part of the reason we see so many fat chicks is the hub, believe it or not. Because of you perverts out there. We've seen you. I've shown you the TikToks. This exists.
I thought we weren't going to be cynical, Vig.
We're not cynical.
I
We're being
thought we
actual.
weren't going to be
And I'm
negative.
like, you know what? I realized when I went to the convention the other week, I do still like fat chicks. When they up in person, not the super big ones. We're talking about the cute fat chicks.
No, thank you.
The cute thick ones.
I actually realized the other day that my number one quality that I prize in a girl is her being skinny, even more
Yeah.
than her ass. Yeah, I realized that. I didn't know that about myself. And I did the math, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's got to be first. Like, at least fit-ish. Like, you don't have to have, like, a flat stomach, but, like, you can't be, if you're fat or, like, you don't work out, like, you don't exercise, like, I'm not into it.
These things. I know I'm about to get killed because I know anytime I've said something along those lines, this is why I was so against it, because it's like an addiction, man. Once you've had one,
I've had them, bro. I've had fat
you
girls. Trust me.
probably whatever, bro.
Yeah, I mean, of course I have. I'm always just disappointed in myself.
So if you're not into it, you're not into it.
I'm not into it. Although there was one time I was with this girl and she was bigger. She had a really pretty face though. She kind of catfished me on fucking Tinder,
Damn.
you know. And I met up with her. I was like, "Ah, bitch, you did not represent yourself accurately." But we were making out in her car, and she had a big ass, and I was kind of like, "Ooh, this feels nice." Like there is something nice about the bigness of it. Like it's
It's so oversized. It's just that
it surges through your hands. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it is a good. I get it. I can kind of understand it from that point of view. Yeah. But she wanted me to take her out to dinner and shit. And I'm like, nah.
I love it. I love it.
No.
I love it. Nah. You gotta be like that. You gotta, wherever your standards lie, they should not be passed.
Yeah, it's like, no, you don't get the girlfriend treatment.
No, you didn't
Sorry.
say that, man.
You don't. You gotta put in effort
You gotta
too,
take
and you're
me
not.
out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason. Is like it's the ease of access is why you lower your standards. That's you understand this transaction, right?
Like I thought this was the
You get someone out of your league, and I put up with you. That's what's going on.
Like I thought you signed the contract. What the hell?
Yeah, you're breaking the social contract here. What's going on?
Yeah.
That's not happening. I'm not taking you out to dinner. No.
No, that's funny. No, we love big girls.
So back to the PragerU thing.
Yeah.
I was watching their. It was pretty good. It was kind of like a nerdrotic kind of thing. There were 3 people there. Well, I guess one dude was off camera and he's like I guess a film major, and they were talking about the new Jordan Peele movie Nope.
Yeah.
And they were breaking it down. Basically, like the title is it woke? You know what I mean? Like they're like 2 years behind us, but but like it's essentially that's what they were breaking it down, and it was a really good conversation. It was really healthy. It was really like mature. It wasn't boring, and it was insightful, and it was like. The girl was kind of like, yeah, I was surprised how it wasn't as racial as you thought. And the film major guy was like, I mean, listen, yeah, it wasn't, but it was also, it's built on all these premises. Like, and that's like where it comes from. And it was just like, it was a really interesting, constructive conversation. And I liked it a lot.
Okay. I have a question, and I've been personally wondering internally. Question. Luke, will you join us at this? How, and it goes back to moderation. How healthy is it woke conversation when it comes to judging is it good or not? And we're talking about a piece of art or a whatever, movie, TV show piece.
That's a good question because it goes in multiple directions, right? You kind of become like obsessed with it the way they're obsessed with it because you see it or you're trying to see it. The way they're trying to find racism everywhere. Like you're trying to find wokeness everywhere, and it gets really it's bad for you. However, what eats me more than even like a bad woke movie that I clearly will avoid is when they do actually slip it by well. That almost bothers me more. Because it's like they accomplished it. Or if I feel myself internally like submitting a little, just being like, just kind of like it's like they've beaten me down and I have accepted, like that's, to me, that's almost worse when they're effective.
But like, then there's another question being asked. Is it one of the arguments or complaints or suggestions not, hey, make something good first and put your woke argument second, and by doing such a thing they make it slip past a lot better. I mean, we both know what happened with Arcane with us, you know what I'm saying? So if once they accomplish that goal that we say we want them to do, well, guess what, now they can slip it past a lot easier because they've put in the effort that they usually don't. They actually made something that people enjoyed, and now people don't really care about the intersectionality. You know what I mean?
Intersectional. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna rant again.
It's like
Playing the hits.
that's where it goes back to the initial question. How woke? Where does that? What does that meter mean? Even if it's at 10, can you still have a really good piece of art, quote unquote, piece of art, piece of media, piece of content, whatever term you want to use. But be it, TV show, movie, video game, even if it's quote unquote woke, does that mean it's bad off the rip? I feel like somebody else has said this, or somebody I'm stealing this. Sorry, but this is, what do you do?
Oh, I thought that was leading into another point.
No, but no,
I don't.
wish I
So
had
what?
more
It's
point.
an idea. Ideas don't have owners. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so okay. Let me try to process what I'm thinking here. Like,
I got.
what's
I
in
can
it?
try to make a point. If you want to think a little bit, I can kind of try to make a point because I
Well,
do
what
have.
I was gonna say is, what's an example of a good woke movie?
Well,
Because like, if we can think of what, because there's a difference between something having a point of view and lecturing the audience. Like they're two very different things, right? Like
okay.
if you're gonna make a movie about a subject, right, and interpret it a certain way, that's one thing. But when it's the true nefarious thing are the things that like you're like, that's not real life. Like you're putting that in there to try to reshape society in your new image. Like that's where I think it's a crime. It's like when you have, these women beating up these fully grown men, when you have, little girls punching out adult men, stuff like that, or just, foundations that are like, that's a theory. That's just an idea of yours. You can't just like assert that that's the way the world is. Like that's where I think the thing, if you just, yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky question. I'm trying to think of a good woke movie.
Well, one thing that topped off, and I don't know if is it woke hashtag Django Unchained, and it doesn't necessarily. Well, it's a fictional, it's a fictional piece. It's a piece of fiction, but it's
Yeah.
a quote unquote historical fiction. And granted, this is what oh my
More of a
god,
historical
Tarantino.
fantasy.
Historical fantasy fiction, which what Tarantino, that's kind of one of the genres he's played around with it a little bit. Inglorious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, etc. That's like
Yeah.
a gimmick he has. But
Yeah, it's a tired one too. I'm fucking
yeah,
over it.
he hit it. But Django Unchained at the time was
No,
pretty
Django
well
was
received.
cool, and so was Inglorious Bastards. But the
Yeah.
fucking Hollywood movie was, why?
I
This
didn't
is
see
your
it.
thing? Revisionist history, revenge fantasies? I mean, that's your whole thing now? Why?
Yeah, 2 shots at that and they both hit, and it was like, okay,
I mean, we definitely don't need a third, dude. Jesus Christ.
like 4th or 5th. But yeah, but I guess I picked that out because I mean a lot of it can be considered woke, just from the standpoint of it just being a. I mean, yes, there's a.
Slave rebellion fan? I don't know. But I don't know if that qualifies as woke. per
Would it
se.
not had it if it had been released same frame for frame, shot for shot? They release it today. Maybe
Well,
give some
if they
weight.
released it today, then like his friend wouldn't have saved the day. His friend would have learned to become better or something. You know what I mean? Like Christoph Waltz, like wouldn't have been a hero. He wouldn't be allowed to be a hero. Like that's where it gets. That's when the thing
Yeah, I mean,
becomes propaganda.
I'm sure the girl kicked somebody in the head. I mean, I get it. More than likely we change. But I'm saying if it was released frame for frame, people would say, "Well, this is woke. Well, that is woke." I feel like it would be picked
Oh,
apart.
I see what you meant. Sorry, I thought you meant if it was like.
No, not
created
made. I'm talking
today.
about
Got it.
released. The same movie, frame for frame, shot for shot. People would still make arguments that is woke.
Yeah, it's woke adjacent.
Woke adjacent.
Because it's like it's not quite propaganda, but it definitely is like reinforcing the idea of black people as slaves, right? It's like it's treading down that, and it's
Treading down slavery, reinforcing that. that
reminding
division,
people,
reminding
keeping
everyone.
it, and then also inspiring rageful revenge. So yeah,
Yep.
I would say it's in the realm of that. If there's a Venn diagram that crosses over.
And it was beloved again before the culture war. The culture war had been started, but I mean when the culture war really started, when the cool
Yeah.
kids figured it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say something really fucked up, but I didn't. The culture war started when we started letting women vote. Shouldn't have done that.
Ladies,
What a
especially the big
mistake.
ones.
Ugh. That's not. I do not stand behind that. That's not my brand.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. No. I see what you're saying. It's like it's in that realm. There's probably woke people that dig it, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't lecture enough to really satisfy that Marxist impulse. You know what I mean? It's not. It has the revenge, but it's also not saying, and see, white people, this is what you did wrong. It doesn't have that kind of like smug, condescending.
I mean, Candy's a real piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Who?
The Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean,
he is a real piece of shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's been real pieces of shit in history. Like that doesn't.
True.
There were definitely slave owners who were pieces of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't have a problem with that depiction. It's still a very uncomfortable reality that was the history of this country. But I mean, it's the history of the world, so it's not really necessarily like just us, evil white people. But it's still one of those things that that was real.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, man. So that's why I'm telling you, it would get a little bit more heat than you're giving it credit for if it was made, even shot for shot what it is now.
It got heat at the time,
yeah,
because of the N-word being used so much.
Yeah.
And Leo did a very groveling interview.
I do remember that.
You remember that, right? And he did a very groveling, like, I want to make sure everyone was okay with it. Because he saw himself in the crosshairs, and he's like, you know what? To keep fucking these supermodels, keep this lifestyle going, got to grovel right now.
He did grovel. I do remember that, yes.
He did, yeah, he groveled. That's what they want from you. They want you to grovel.
I want these private planes and these bitches, so.
Yeah, it's a lot to hold on to. I can kind of understand that a little bit. I probably wouldn't have done it. Like, I hated when they groveled for that. What was that show with the Altered Carbon? When the creator, because they were like, oh, they made an Asian guy white, white face, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I totally understand your concerns. And we would never want to do that. We are just being authentic to the source material. I'm like, don't even validate their concerns. It's the book. It's how it was written. Fucking go back, go whine back at Berkeley. You know what I mean? Like, shh, beat it. Like, I don't think you should, like, encourage that. But, it is.
Man, I'm not imagining the chat because I just imagine someone just said, they do the thing where they misquote us. So now it's just fuck Asian people.
It's
bad.
It's a pretty funny meme that they do.
Yeah.
I
I can imagine that there's some misquoted thing right there.
I've been in the chat more recently with creators I know, like you and Max and shit. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to just be a troll and not have to say anything and then just like once in a while fire out a banger here and there.
I love it. That's why I like being in the chat of the MFer if I can do it. It's fun.
Yeah, I always feel bad with the chat though, because some creators are so good at working with the chat. I'm so much more focused on having a good conversation, like that. I miss a lot of it, and I don't. I know I don't like being left out of a conversation if I'm chatting. Obviously, I'm trying to contribute, but so it's like that the balance of trying to include people, but also try to keep the conversation going. Some people are better at it than I am. And I'm trying my best, people, okay? If I didn't say your fucking chat, I didn't know, okay? I didn't mean to.
So here's my
goddamn gun to my head all the time.
My new gimmick is this. I get through my point. I usually say, okay, I don't have 3 hours on any subject. I'm usually got 15 minutes max. So I say my fucking point, I get it in, and then I look at the chat. And I know I'm not going to get to everybody. Sometimes I can if it ain't nobody in the chat. But if it's a bunch, I get to as many as I can, and then get to the next segment. And that's usually how I do my streams, and that's how I can interact with the chat and make sure my point is across, and I can say it and then maybe reinforce it along with whatever the chat has said.
Yeah, I think we should do it. We should definitely do another live Culture Crime Fighters. We should try to do that this week, I think.
Okay.
If you have some extra time. I don't want
Yeah.
to plan on the show, but it's just I was just because I think people felt a little left out.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this premiere, and that's
Yeah.
why we missed you too.
Yeah, and I didn't want that necessarily. Although I did not like being in the chat for my podcast premiere on Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah, I was just getting fucking roasted the whole time.
Oh
And
man,
it's not like a live show where I could address it. I can only
Yeah.
address it like in the chat, and I'm like, I was also just getting ready for the day. It was 8 a.m. You know what I mean? And I'm just like starting my day up, and like I'm like,
Start your day out with
my
bitches.
phone is up, and I'm just like writing and trying to write snark back, and it's like shit. I just got cooked. It was a terrible way to start the day. I felt like shit.
in this distress as soon as you wake up, like
Yeah.
you're getting cooked at your own content that you work hard on.
That I worked hard on, and I stayed
You
up late
suck.
to make sure it got out on time. Like picked out the thumbnail, I had to edit it. You know what I mean? All that stuff, and just
These are the
fucking
people that like you.
smoked. Last thing such a dildo said, he said, "Dude, that was mid." Like that's what he said at the end of the thing. I was like, "God damn it,
Oh my
fuck you."
Harsh.
I know.
It
loomed over me.
Think of it like this. Say what you will about Kevin Hart, but motherfucking Patrice O'Neal allegedly threw phone books at him at one point.
While he was on stage.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. He used to smoke Kevin Hart, dude. They I think I told this story, but it's like, one of Patrice's stories, but they used to like, it would be a show, right, where Kevin's there and it's like a full show, and the three comics just sit at the front, and like Kevin's doing his jokes, it's getting laughs, and then Patrice will just be like, and then all three of the comics, and then they like change the tone of the room, like all of a sudden, like now the crowd's against him, and they just be like, it just like groans, at like his premises and stuff like that, like it's offensive, and just turn the whole room against him. That's fucked
horrible.
up, dude. That's hard, man. That is difficult.
Shit ever. Well, see, we're not getting that type of treatment. We're just getting made. That's better than that shit.
Yeah, it's true. But it would be like,
fuck.
it would be stuff like, they would undermine their presence, their like, or like they would like attack a heckler, and then like one of the comments in the back, be like, what if she has got like one of those diseases? Why are you going after this person? And then like, like now he's all defensive on stage, like trying to.
That's fucking great.
That's so
Oh, shit, I
goddamn
don't know why I
funny,
laugh
man.
like Mickey Mouse. But that's fucking incredible, man.
Oh, I know. It's so funny. And then Kevin, during the roast session, this is great stories. You guys should seek this out, like Patrice, Kevin Hart stories, because there's so many good ones. So Patrice was visiting Kevin in LA at his house, right? Because Patrice, the New York comic, lived in Jersey, and he was visiting Kevin, and Kevin was out for the day, and Kevin had like a Mac. So those are good computers, and for this was what 2000 and something, 2005 maybe, 2006. So computers were still pretty rudimentary, and porn could destroy your computer. So he's on Kevin Hart's Mac, and he's just jerking away while Kevin's out, and then Kevin comes home and sees Patrice with his back to him with the headphones on, and he goes, "Patrice, what the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, Patrice all startled,
Oh fuck!
And then Patrice tried to convince Kevin to let him finish. He tried to be like, go come back in 10 minutes. He's like, no, there's no 10 minutes. Put your dick away. And so the way Kevin tells the story is that Patrice, came out and went to his Kevin and his wife at the time and goes, "There's really nothing I could say. It's gonna make that situation better." And just like dealt with it, and then owned it. So Kevin, when he was getting roasted, when he was getting kind of cooked by these guys on his show, where they're all just going for every joke, Kevin tells that story on stage. For that whole room, and then they got the crowd back, and Patrice, Patrice like, you had to do it. You had to do it.
That was great.
Yeah. God, those guys were so goddamn funny. Those seller comics from the fucking 2000s, man.
Yeah.
Just legends, all of them. Like the stories they would tell, and just like how just pure, mean funny they were. Just
Hey, that brutality bred greatness.
Oh, it's the best.
So that's why continue to call us mid. We will become greater for your bullshit.
Call Vig mid. Don't call me mid. I'm sensitive. I have no disposition for criticism. Okay.
Man, I thought. Well, for such a dildo to say anything, like I consider mid from him to be a positive.
I get uncomfortable when he compliments or is nice. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
See, that's why he said mid, because he didn't want to say, "Oh man, this is really good," because you were like, "What the fuck?"
He capitalized it though. I think he meant it.
No,
I think he meant it, dude.
he
I think
doesn't. He means it in his Croatian way. Like that still means like good. It's like an
Maybe.
8.
The stories went nowhere though because I honestly it probably wasn't my best show, but it was because I did the Snyder. There was a Rolling Stone article about the Snyderverse and the Snyder
What's
cut.
going
I don't
on
know.
with that?
No, nothing. It's the most worthless article. Like apparently there are more bots than there had been in other online campaigns. It's like okay, but it was still 87% of the tweets and stuff were from real fans. So it's like this is a total non-story. They tried to frame it like Zack Snyder was manipulating it from behind the scenes. It's just a fucking hatchet job. It was bullshit. I was just like,
Well, he sure sucked at really interacting with his fans. If it,
oh, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I didn't forget that.
if that was him coordinated, he needs to do a better job.
Yeah, it was just a bullshit article. And then there was another one about aliens, or at least I thought. It was like they picked up a radio signal from a galaxy that's like billions of light years away. And it was like a 3-minute radio signal. Generally, they don't get them that long, right? So the article like leads you to believe that there's like something here, and it's just like a cosmic anomaly. It was just like a star, like a pulsar or something like that. You're like, oh, you you led me to believe.
Clickbait.
Yeah, they're just like, isn't that interesting? It's like, I mean, kind of. It's not nearly as interesting as it might be another civilization. But it was
Another
absolutely
civilization
clickbait,
is probably either just going to skip us or end us.
yeah. But if they ever developed radio technology, like at some point we'll pick it up because it goes forever.
Yeah.
Like I think ours are traveling the cosmos, but it's just not that far. It's not nearly as far as you would think. Like, let me see, how far?
Science with the cultural crime fighters.
Yes, exactly. How far have our radio waves traveled? So they've gone 200 light years.
Buzz Lightyear
That's
to the
not
rescue.
much.
200
Like
light years, yeah. In
In the scope of the fucking universe, that's probably not even out of our, cluster. It probably hit like 3 stars. You know what I mean? Like it's not that far.
Yeah.
A mind-boggling image shows how far into space humanity's voice has actually reached. It's actually all right. I'll just share the image. It's
There
like
you go.
pretty far, but like it's not nearly out of the galaxy.
And before someone in the chat says space isn't real.
Okay, space isn't real. I'll zoom in on it.
Mhm.
But I guess like this little square is the extent of it. Like this is as far as it's gone, and this is the Milky Way. So it's like,
I'll take that.
I mean, yeah, I guess so,
I
right?
mean, what are you going to do? You're fucking as dumb. I mean, you've met other humans. Like, okay, maybe it's not a shoot, and, we get it. We understand that. Lord knows I talk conspiracy shit. But provided it is, that's impressive. For what we are as a species.
Well, it's not necessarily impressive. We didn't do anything in particular. It's just a radio wave goes forever.
Yeah.
It's like light. So the fact that they invented radio, the second they did that, it started broadcasting out into the solar system forever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like into the universe. So if there are other life forms out there with the capability, with like the same type of technology that we have, or better, obviously, like they will get those radio waves and know that we exist.
Yeah.
So that's why it's significant.
You know what? You think about it, will they? Like, let's say
Yeah.
they just get, no, here's what I'm saying.
Oh,
This is because we just assume tech. I mean, we've all worked with tech. Sometimes tech is shitty. So maybe they'll get some sort of interference. Like, oh man, every time we go through this one patch, everything just acts funny, man. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. And they just go about it. And it's really our radio waves, but they don't recognize it as some form of communication. They just recognize it as some interference they have to deal with when they're flying through.
well, if they've understood the laws of physics on any fundamental level, then yeah, that won't be a problem because like the radios work on a set, fundamentals on physical properties, right? They
Yeah.
pick up a realistic wave. So it's like if they have got any kind of technological, it's like the invention of certain things is just kind of like inevitable. Like it's not your technology is different. Like being able to decipher a radio wave is just something that any civilization will eventually accomplish.
Yeah.
And so like if they have done that, if they've gotten that far, then as soon as the first one reaches them, it's never going to stop. Like it'll just, for every single radio broadcast that has ever been made, it'll keep going forever. So they'll if they miss the first one, it'll you know what I mean, they'll just be a wash in American they'll see our TV, they'll see our radio, they'll see our news. It's inevitable. It's not something that like will it or won't it. It will once it happens.
Yeah.
It's just the distances are so fucking insane that none of us are going to be alive to witness that.
Well, that's if there is life out there.
And that's also that. Like, there's also, we never had it confirmed, although I don't think it's a mathematical possibility. But it's never been. I mean, the fact that we exist proves it can be possible. So if the universe is essentially infinite, then mathematically, doesn't that make it possible?
I mean, it would be likely there's others.
And billions, how old's the galaxy? 13 billion years old or something like that? I mean,
yeah.
I think it's, I think it's possible.
So science with CCF.
Yeah.
We believe the science.
As soon as I started talking science, so I realized I don't know shit.
Yeah, I can't. I used to watch all those fucking documentaries. I know there's people saying firmament, flat earth. Okay, cool, man. I used to watch all that shit. I forgot all those numbers. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
they used to have all these little and the analogies of how far things were, and I listen. I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars and no life and the dedication to math and science to be able to understand any of that. So I mean, I'm not even gonna act like I do. It's impressive though. I'm not saying it's not. That doesn't make it any less impressive. It's just mind-boggling. I guess is probably a better way to put it.
Yeah. No. I it's a lot. It requires a lot of study. It's not something I study much. Obviously, I spent 15 years of my life studying film and television. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where I put most of my energy. So there wasn't a lot of room for physics. But like when you talk to someone like what's his name, Redshirt, who has a major in physics, it's like, oh, this is someone who actually knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like what's his name? Someone asked on the cocktail lounge the other night whether the sun was fusion or fission, and I was like,
yeah, I have no idea.
And then it was fusion. I was like, oh. I was like,
cosmic fusion.
Cosmic fusion. Cosmo shouts to the Wake Down. Go give Wake Down a little subski. Maybe throw him an insult on Twitter.
Yeah,
Bust
cosmic
his balls
fusion.
for
Sun
me.
worshiper confirmed. Illuminati confirmed for cosmic fusion.
You know, I will say, dude, I thought the cocktail lounge this Friday was really good.
Yeah.
I had a great time with that show. I thought it was genuinely entertaining from start to finish and effortless. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I wish I would have caught more of it. I came in late, but
yeah, it is what it is. And then 2 weeks ago, did you see the one with Missy at all?
I don't think I did.
Really? You should go back and watch it. Honestly, yeah, dude, because she's a conspiracy person, but she's more like Alex Jones. Like she knows her shit.
Okay.
She has it researched. She connects the dots to shit that I was just like, damn. Like it was really fun to pick her brain and talk to her about this stuff. Like, my dad was in the chat. He didn't like her.
Oh, really?
No. He's like, this chick doesn't have any facts. Yeah, he was pissed. I think he was drunk. But it was.
She is a woman. No, I'm just joking.
I thought it was great. Check
it out.
I loved it. I had a lot of fun with her. Yeah, it was a really. I thought it was an interesting show. And Wake Down got the guest. You know.
Oh man.
And I told Wake Down. Wake Down said he will not attack any more panelists. He will not get into fights with them any longer.
What happened with that?
He got into a little dust up with Lord Thoth on Friday's show.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, which I was like, I didn't think that was that cool. I was like, that's Lord Thoth, man. Be nice to him.
Yeah.
And then, like the week before that, he fucking yelled at. Was it the week before or whatever? It was a few weeks ago. He yelled at Mad Mardigan.
Well, it's Mad, so I get that, but
all right. I mean, I got it. I understood why he did it, but I was just also like, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't just get in the habit of just yelling at people. And you know what, man? See, that's kind of the thing, man. This is like, I think I'm so much worse on panels because I don't care as much because I'm like, man, this is not worth. I mean, it's not spilt milk, but you can't cry over it either, man. It's not worth your. It's not worth the points to your blood pressure. It's not worth the points to your stress because you don't want to be snapping on people. You don't want to be even more high strung than the world has already got you. So like
Yeah.
that's kind of where my attitude. That's where some of this energy for even this episode comes. It's like, man, I can't be this focused on it. I can't watch every video anymore. I can't be this invested in the culture war because I can't focus on improving my own personal actual life and have that same amount of focus anymore. I could in 2020. I can't in 2022.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I don't mind disagreements. I think disagreements are healthy. I
Yeah.
think that's where you get a lot of actually good work done. I think if you just sort of agree with each other, it's almost kind of worthless. Like, it's just like you just sit around and agree. It's like,
Yeah, it's a
what
circle
does that
jerk.
accomplish? Yeah, it does accomplishes nothing. So that's why I like disagreements. I think they're, it's a good way. It just needs to be done respectfully. You can't just, you can't get emotional
Yeah,
if you can avoid it. You can't make it personal if you can avoid it because it's not constructive. It's not entertaining. It just becomes a fight then. And it's not really worth anyone's time, But I think disagreements are good, especially if you stay on topic, if you stay on the idea and you just discuss it, you talk it through. I think it's great.
yeah, I agree. I agree. But yeah, it isn't worth like getting further than that. It's not worth being like really emotionally involved and angry at someone. And
No.
like, I hate to think, one thing I was thinking of throughout the week is there are relationships, families, friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, wife, husband, other relationships, they, them, I know. But just whatever the case, human interactions and relationships that were once healthy, but for not even all the other real life reasons that could have broken a relationship that's happened the past 2 years, but something like politics or agreements on something else, like they're broken apart. Politics or
happens a
certain
lot.
health decisions, we'll just keep it at that, broke apart whole relationships that otherwise families that did survive the onslaught of everything else and were still healthy, and that was what broke them. And that's like, wow, that's horrifying to think. So I don't want that to continue in my own life or to be a thing. It's not worth it because human interaction is an important element of life. As much as I suck at it, it's still, doesn't matter. It still is important. Suck at a lot of things that are important.
I've definitely broken relationships over politics before, and I regret it. Like, I don't like that it happened. I don't like that I got so emotional that I, was being belligerent or whatever it was. Like, I regret those moments, and every time I come out of them, it's you cross a line, and it's hard to repair it. It's hard for the person to forgive and to let it go because it's very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable reality, and and some of it too. Like, it's not like my buddy back in LA, right? Mm-hmm. Who I was thinking about reaching out to, actually, because I talked to my friends on the 4th of July. They gave me a call, and it was really nice. It was a really nice call. Yeah. But they were like talking about him, and I was like, "Hey, you seen him? How's he doing?" And I was about reaching out. But I mean, the reason I pretty much had to end that relationship was because it's every single fucking time we hang out, it's some kind of disagreement, and eventually, and I keep getting lectures for having white privilege, and I'm just like, I can't. This is not a relationship I can maintain, dude. If I'm guilty just for being alive, it's a very difficult. How do we move forward here, man? Like, I'm trying to be your friend. I'm a good person. So it's like that is a way that politics broke up that friendship.
Yeah.
It does happen. It's those things are real. And when people become zealots, like there's going back to PragerU, there's one of these guys who I mean, he's like the image of a young Republican. He's tall, he's handsome, he's got great hair. You know what I mean? He's got confidence, But he interviews, these people on college campuses or whatever. He's good at it. And he was asking, which one was it? It was, oh yeah, like, do you know any Republicans? Right? Do you or it was something along those lines, and it was like, do you know any Republicans? And like so many people were like, nope, 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 nope. When people are that passionate, when politics are their identity, and it's the kind of thing they put that much energy into, it becomes hard to be friends with them if you don't agree.
You know, a question that popped off. I know this is kind of a tangent, but how many of those people actually do know Republicans, but they don't know because of the stigma attached? You know what I mean? Like, they are. You actually do, but they just won't tell you because they know you'll fucking banish them.
I was having a discussion with a girl from work that just the other night, literally this exact conversation. And she was, because I always just tease now. I make jokes. I don't talk honestly about any of it because it's not productive. And, she's like, oh, you're just like a troll. And I'm like, listen, I've had the real conversation. It goes fucking nowhere. And ultimately, all it ends up doing is getting me socially ostracized. And I'm sick of that. So I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And she actually we ended up having the conversation, and she turned out to be very enlightened. I was extremely impressed. She still has ideas like the patriarchy. Ugh.
Yeah.
But the fact is, she could have a conversation with someone that doesn't agree with all her fundamentals, and it didn't get uncomfortable. It didn't get emotional. It didn't get angry. No one was yelling at each other. It was a very healthy, mature conversation about a lot of different ideas and a lot of different stuff. And I was so impressed with just how mature she was. And she, still like, she's just like, you should try. There's more people out there that can have these conversations. So I'm like, I appreciate the advice, but this is years of experience. I know what I'm talking about. Like, there's no way I'm not risking that ever again in a relationship that matters.
Yeah. And you know something with me, I'm wondering, like, how interesting is this conversation anyway? Like, I got this little YouTube space. I can do that there. You know what I mean? Do I need to have a conversation with this person? If it becomes a thing, like if it's someone I'm dating and then it becomes a serious relationship and their values reflect on how I would like to live as a couple, then yeah, I then that has to be a thing, and maybe that eliminates people or brings people together. I don't know. But like, yeah, outside of something like that, I'd really rather not speak politics with anyone in the real life.
It's a much healthier strategy, I would say. But for me, I just find it interesting. And there's something wrong with me. There's something broken with the way I'm wired, because for some reason I have to speak my mind. Like I have to. I'm learning when not to. But it's just something about me, and I have to do it. So it's like if I feel the pressure where I can't, it really makes me feel small.
Yeah.
And I don't like that feeling at all. So I don't know. It's like but I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy hearing other people's ideas. I enjoy like understanding the mind of someone I disagree with. Like I like that. I like to hear where they come from. The thing is, so many of these people come from the exact same place, and they think they've come to these conclusions as an individual. It's like, I can tell you what your thoughts are. I know what you think about these things. We've never had a single conversation about any of that, but I can tell you I know what you believe. And it's like, obviously it's not universally true, but it's true enough that I can rely on it.
Well, what if they said they could do that same thing to you? You know what I'm saying?
I'd be like, fucking let's go. What do I think about X? Go for it. I would love to hear what you think I think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I probably don't think all the things you think I do. I'm not a fundamentalist Christian. I'm not, I have a nuanced opinion of the abortion rally. Of all these, I really do have a nuanced opinion about a lot of this type of shit. I'm not just a cut and dry guy for the most part, but it's just that, like, I know the school of thought you're espousing. If you say things to me like patriarchy, I already know probably half your opinions.
Yeah.
I'm
not a
say
fan of
that
patriarchy personally. When I hear that, I'm just like, I check out.
Yeah.
I wish I couldn't, but I mean, even I've heard a bunch of good points, heard the word patriarchy, and then just clicked off the video because it has, I don't know what it is, but when I hear patriarchy, I just think mindlessly anti-male, and I'm just not. I have no time for that. Ever.
And it's probably more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you've attached yourself to that ideology, those buzzwords inside of that ideology, that to me already speaks that you've accepted it. It's kind of like, yeah, maybe you're not like a fucking Westboro Baptist Church and like, like equivalent, like Antifa member, but
Yeah,
you're a Protestant. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like you've read the good book and you've heard the word and you believe it. So it's like I can't I you know what I mean? Like I already know, what you think you know. I already know what beliefs you probably have. I can kind of predict it
yeah,
because you're saying things like that. It's like, well, if you say something like that, then you believe in the fundamental concept. And the fundamental concept is Marxism. So I can get to the root of what you believe and explain it to you.
yeah,
I can explain what you believe better than you probably can.
yeah. Because you've been doing all the research. You've been doing all the research into it, man. It's how you got to PragerU in the first place, right?
And I walked her through it. I did. And she was, and to her credit, she was very receptive. She said to me, like, I said, something about your belief structure going back to it's essentially cultural Marxism. And she laughed. And I was like, I'll explain it to you. I'll explain to you where it comes from. And broke it down how Marx was about the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and that they've taken this and made it intersectionalism and put, inverse the social pyramid, so on and so forth. I just like walked her through it, and you could kind of see her not getting angry. She was almost kind of like, oh, fuck, he really does know what he's talking about. It was like a moment for her. And like I said, to her credit, she handled it. It didn't get uncomfortable. She didn't yell at me. Like she worked with me on the topic. But there was some study that was going around that they said something like the people on the whole, now this is on the whole, that people on the left don't understand the mindset of people on the right as well as people on the right understand the mindset of people on the left. Meaning, well, it's like, because it actually kind of tracks, right? If you think about it, like you can't platform these conservatives, right? You can't even read conservative text. You can't listen to conservative radio. Like everything has got to be inside of our lens, our bubble. And if it isn't, it's it's heresy. It's bad. So it's like the constraints aren't as strong on the right. Like people don't really. There are fundamentalists. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit more like open as far as what books and what things you're allowed to look at and allowed to read. You know what I mean? It's like, so it makes more sense that people on the right, if you're an intellectual, I mean, there's lots of assholes on the right, don't get me wrong, but it's like if you're an intellectual in that sphere, then you've done your homework and you know what they're saying and why. Whereas they say people on the left, on the whole, don't have that much insight.
Who are they?
I mean, it's a study. It could be a bullshit study,
no,
but it tracks for me.
Yeah,
I think that does track, like, because it's like, people think like people with like American flags on their car are automatically racist.
really.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's like the American flag has become kind of like a symbol of bigotry.
I have heard that, but I didn't like know that like how like maybe because I've now moved from North Carolina to Texas, so I get it. So it's like, well, yeah, not there, Vig, but it's kind of counter to your. I always talk about how you lived in such liberal places, so you're going to come from a different perspective. I've lived in purple at best places, so my perspective may lean a little more right. So I mean,
and that's a real thing.
yeah,
Like what I told, like my cultural experience with the South was surprising.
yeah,
I just got things I just hadn't seen yet, and I was like, that is interesting. That is insightful.
yeah.
Just about the way people interact and social structure and things. And I was like, honestly, I feel like the South is more integrated than like the North or these like, progressive cities.
Well, yeah. Well, shit. I was just thinking I would never want to go to Portland because I'm thinking, I'm trying to do this music thing. I'm gonna have some music for you soon, hopefully.
Yay!
And then I'm like, man, if I ever had to tour, I was just thinking, I'm like, I would never want to go to Portland. I just don't want to be there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to just stereotype the city, but like, and part of it, I mean, I've heard so much about that wokeness being like really out of hand. And if you did a show, I mean, I've seen how they treated Eric July. I'm not even.
How'd they treat Eric July?
I mean, that city having. I'm just talking about they as in.
The royal
culture. Yeah, just how they culturally would somebody do something crazy or just like I just wouldn't want to be like I go to Austin. I know that's just still super woke, But like I don't know, like, and I'm not even a hardcore righty or whatever. But like you do wonder, like, man, is that people are crazy.
People are crazy, but I will say this, and because I think it's like a lot of comics. Like Ryan Long is a comedian that I identify with a lot of his worldviews. Now, I think he's pretty socially liberal on certain issues. Just like whatever, that's fine. But it's like he plays these cities, and I think it's like it's almost like you're there for the minority of people who aren't the majority.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're there. You're there for
them. They
them.
exist too. Yeah, I get it.
Right. I existed in L.A.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if someone came to L.A. to play or what, it's like I would want to support. I'd want to go and I'd want to, be around that fucking energy. You know what I mean? Like, and also like-minded people. Like, it's very cool to be in a room full of people where you're kind of on the same page.
Yeah. And you know what? They got weed in Portland. So you know what? I changed my mind. Portland. If I ever mattered enough that you would actually want me to be there, I'll play Portland.
Yeah, and there's, you could probably smash some hairy arm chick, hairy armpit girl.
Please not be that one bitch that was for BLM showing her cooch doing a live OnlyFans session.
Bro, I was thinking about that. I was like, how much smashing went on from BLM protests? I feel like a lot.
I'm sure.
I feel like there was a lot. And I feel like there's probably a significant population of black guys who didn't really give a shit, but were just there for the fucking pussy.
Yeah, man, I wish I was young enough to have done that, man. To
right?
have been there. Golly. What a time to be alive. We talk so much shit about these kids. What a time to be alive for you young motherfuckers.
Bro, that would be, if you're a black dude at a BLM rally.
Man, even a white guy at a BLM.
No.
Yo, what you gotta do?
You couldn't be a white guy because but yeah, okay. Let's hear the pitch. What could you do?
You line yourself up so where you don't necessarily look white, and you never have to bring it up. What you do, you lie, and you just never bring it up.
You do get a Caesar haircut.
Get a Caesar.
Okay.
You line everything up right, and you just never bring it up. These girls are loose and high. I'm not trying to say it like that.
That's a good point, dude. Wear some baggy clothes, like kind of put on like a little bit of a hip hop vibe.
No, don't go too hard with it.
Not too hard, just subtle. Suggest it.
Little
bit of FUBU. No, okay.
You want to look like a fan full of some FUBU. You look fed rally. No.
Still though, I don't think it's an easy environment for a white guy to get laid because it would almost look like, oh, that's why you're here. You don't really care about the rights of black people. You're a fucking colonizer. Like, I don't think that will go over that well.
You might have to deal with that if you're ready to risk it for the box.
But for a black dude, it's like there's no risk of that being accused of that. So if you're just making a move on a chick and it doesn't go well, you're just making a move on a chick and it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're a white guy making a move on a chick and one of those things, it's just gonna be, you could get the shit kicked out of you. You know what I mean? Like that could get really bad real fast. She'd be like, oh, he's a alt-right Nazi. I got one. You know what I mean? Like that could get out of hand. Now I feel like there were a lot of black dudes who cleaned up at those rallies.
Probably.
Yeah. I was like, and look, can't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I mean? Like it's, I would have done it.
Matt wishes he was a black BLM protester. Somebody said in the chat.
Buddy, you could, you know what I mean? Like that would be a pretty sweet spot. Like if you were just the type of dude who like didn't get caught up in that type of thing, but you're like, I'm obviously not going to throw this opportunity away. Just like,
I'm sure.
I encouraged like Daniela to write a screenplay, because I'm like, do you understand how much they're hiring women content creators in Hollywood and in entertainment right now? You should lean into that 100%. If I had that opportunity, I would exploit it like a motherfucker. I'm just, the verboten, persona non grata in entertainment.
Still have an opportunity. You still have one.
I have been thinking about getting back into acting, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that. But it is something that's like kind of scratching at me a little bit. Yeah.
Do it.
I have to prioritize, like where because the thing is, you can only put your energy in so many places. You know what I mean, to be productive. So you do have to. Yeah, and it's like I don't want to spread myself so thin over so many things I get nothing done. You know, like that can't be, you know, the thing. Hi, Lukey. Hi, buddy. It's like I honestly find it hard just to run 2 fucking YouTube channels. I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus
I can
Christ,
imagine.
Just to run fucking one
Yeah, me just running
very
one.
poorly.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what me being back done. I feel more on hiatus now. I'm just like, man, I gotta do stuff. I'm like, I feel out of sync. I just feel like, you know, I don't have a angle because I don't really care as much about none of it.
Right.
And
That's an okay place to be, though. I'm kind of in the same place. Like, I'm allowing, you know, inspiration to come to me and sort of like, where do I want to go with things? Like, I'm cooking up a video on The Crow.
oh yeah, I mean to check that out. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, fucking awesome. And I'm cooking up a video on 5 Easy Pieces, which I'm probably going to prioritize the 5 Easy Pieces just because that director just died.
Yeah.
But it's such a fucking masterpiece. It's like one of my favorite movies because it's about this guy who, like, you meet him and he's an oil rig worker. Like, not oil, yeah, oil rig, I guess. It's not the ones on the ocean. Like one of those, you know, things that look like the fucking bird that drinks out of the drink, you know?
Yeah.
Those things. And it's in, like, Southern California. And he's super, like, just working class guy. And he's got this girlfriend that's, like, she's way hotter on him than he is on her. And he's just kind of putting up with it. And he's in this sort of, like, you know, white, trashy kind of vibe. They bowl. Like, they, you know, one guy lives in a trailer. His friend Elton lives in a trailer, you know. And then he goes to L.A. to see his sister. And his sister's, like, a concert pianist. And you're like, okay. And then he finds out. Then you learn that his dad is really sick. He had 2 strokes. So she asked him to come up to the compound to, like, and you're like, the compound, like this guy, this oil rig worker guy. And so then he ends up taking this road trip up to I guess Seattle. And it turns out not only is he not like oil rig worker, he was actually a prodigy musician when he was a kid. And was considered a genius, and then just walked away from all of it, and it's just been like the black sheep of the family his entire life. Fascinating. Like, I'd love it. Like, it's so good. It's Jack Nicholson is the star, and he carries the whole picture, and it's just so much. There's like Tammy Wynette. Do you know Tammy Wynette, the country singer?
Man.
She's a country singer.
Yeah.
But it's like her. A lot of her songs are in there. She's fucking great. And it's just such a good fucking character study movie. Like I just love it. Yeah. Really.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of it. I mean, I never really heard of it.
I think Jack was nominated for an Oscar for it. I don't think he won,
wow.
but I think he was nominated. Yeah, he had a run there, dude, in the 70s where he was just hitting fucking bangers. It was right around the Cuckoo's Nest time, like, and then he also did a movie called The Last Detail, which is another masterpiece. Just such a good movie. I actually reference it at the start of the Cocktail Lounge. I use a little clip from it.
So there you go. I know it has the credits there, but I didn't know. See, we learning. Not only do we have CCF Science, now we got CCF Film Study.
101.
Yeah.
With CCF.
There you
With the
go.
boys. With the boys.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Luke's getting tired. I think we're both getting tired. Hit over the hour. So whenever we go over an hour, it's about time. So
We did great work, bud.
Yeah, we're great. We're amazing.
God, we're good.
And we know you love us.
High
We know you
five.
love us. We appreciate you guys out there.
Appreciate
We
you.
will do a live stream sometime this week.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. And then
We'll make it work for sure.
yeah. And then is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
If you haven't seen this most recent episode of the MF for Cocktail Lounge, and I
Watch
know
it.
it's the MF for podcast, I know it's likely because the numbers are super fucking low. So please go check that out. What else? I don't know. Maxfield Von Priestley's on the rise, and me watching his stream. Go give Max a look. Max is a good content creator. I really liked what he's doing. He's got a great energy with his community, with his group of people. And he's on the rise. I think he's at 1,400. So
There you
go give Max the support. He's a good dude.
kids. You know, it's while we're shouting out channels, I'm gonna shout out if you want to just watch people play video games. I do the little retro gaming and I do the gaming. 2 channels. One, K2J Extreme. He just plays a lot of It's just him playing video games. Sometimes he'll be on stream and you'll actually hear him talk. Like if he plays a fighting game, sometimes he'll talk with his buddies. Outside of that, it's just him playing old and classic video games. And then there's another channel who is usually on the mic. Games, movies, and comics are us, and he just got remonetized after being monetized. He's at like 2,000. So check both of these channels out. Hopefully, I'll toss the links in the description.
Nice.
And yeah,
I think
so
you told me
for
about
all-
K2J before, because
Yeah.
that sounds familiar. I'm not subbed to him, but I am
Yeah.
now.
yeah, just sub. He got like a ninja and the icon or whatever.
His
It is.
subscriber numbers aren't public. Is that possible?
Yeah, it is his own public. I think I don't know where he's at. I got it confused with his video numbers at one point.
Well, his
But,
video numbers are not great, but he's up and coming.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, he said he doesn't really do it for. He just does it for fun. He doesn't really care. He does a lot of streams. If you just want chill gaming streams, you don't really want politics. You just need content to be on, or you do something else, sort of thing. Or while you check out and see how he's doing. Sometimes you get caught up in it.
Soul Calibur 6. That's cool.
Yeah.
I remember, what was that? D12. Remember D12? Eminem's little hip hop group. I remember they had a reference to a Soul Calibur in one of their songs.
I do remember that
The
actually.
soul still rises.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
remember that.
What do you think? Before we go, what do you think of D12?
I liked them. I liked
I
them
did
for the
too.
most part. Yeah. I thought
did
they were
too.
pretty cool.
For a little while. Once Eminem started getting corny, when everything he started doing was like jokes and being silly, then I found it less interesting. But like around in the orbit, like during the Marshall Mathers LP era, around that time, I enjoyed.
They were making some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I thought they had some good stuff, and it
It's
was
a real
bonus
good stuff.
Eminem, which is fun.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm from Detroit. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I could be I'm slightly doxing myself. I've said on this show that I was raised a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh,
So-
I forgot that about you.
Yeah. So was Bizarre. And I don't know if he was raised. I can't say if he was raised. I know his mom and his sister were because I was in the same congregation. Such a small world.
Wow, that is a small world. I forgot that about you.
They were very nice people. It
interesting.
fucked me up because he used to say some dirty things about his family members. I'm like, wow, I'm now sitting and I can see the person you're talking about now. That's crazy.
Huh.
He's so nice. Why would you
That's
do that to a
interesting.
Bizarre?
That's funny.
Yeah,
Bizarre
yeah.
was a madman.
Yeah.
Bizarre was a fucking madman.
You know what, man? Now that you mentioned D12, I missed that era. I know we were signing off, but I missed the era of raunchiness, and I know I shouldn't as a person, right? But I miss when art could just do whatever it wanted.
Why should you not? What do you mean? Why shouldn't you?
I should just say, hey, two things. One, I shouldn't be like, yeah, sex, violence, and rock and roll. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like I need, obviously, it's still an interesting subject, but it's just, I don't know. I shouldn't just crave more of it, right?
I don't know. It's see, that type of shit is very innate to the human condition. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think a healthy expression of it, or like, it cutting out in a way that's not taking a brick to a chick's head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is fine. Like I don't know. Like I definitely think a line can be walked between because I was thinking about it.
That'd
while I
be a
was
way to
just
do this responsible, right?
Yeah, I was playing New Vegas earlier, and New Vegas has got a lot. There's a karma system involved with the game where, you have to, if you steal things, it makes your karma lower, and you kind of become a bad guy. And I always instinctually play things for high karma. It's just natural. Just like you're being a nice person in real life,
Yeah.
it translates to the video game, right? And then I was thinking about, how they say like violent video games like affects people and stuff like that, and whether it's true or not, I don't know. But like me being able to express my values through that video game, like I would still feel like this guilt for like NPCs or whatever, if I like screwed them over.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking like, well, whatever. I mean, it's not like a real person. Like who cares? Just steal this fixer or whatever. But then I was like, wow, if that's how I play the video game, will that affect how I go out into the world? Like, will I be less empathetic for human beings? Because you know what I mean? Like that empathy structure that I have, can that be broken down? I was like, that's an interesting
Well, what about the opposite? What about something like Grand Theft Auto, in which there's just so much violence required in order to get through that game? Maybe you're not a fan of those games.
I love those games, but there's no moral system involved. It's not a judgment on your character, like you, as a person. Like you're supposed to kill everybody to get through the game. So that's just, and it's cartoony. Like those games
Yeah.
are great.
Yeah.
I 5 was amazing.
So
Those were
the
best games
presentation and
I ever played.
everything, and just like you said, there's no moral judgment on you. There's no, I mean, there's
You don't make
pacifist rhyme, but
choices.
it doesn't mean anything if you can.
No,
do that.
that's just someone
Challenge.
YouTuber
Yeah.
doing a challenge for themselves. Yeah, but it's like there's no judgment. It's not like you have the option to, like New Vegas. It happens all the time. Like, what group do you help? Like who do you prioritize in this? Do you kill the villain to help your companion, or do you sell your companion into slavery? It's like completely open to you. Like you really have the option to be as morally, awful as you want. So it's just one of those things that it's kind of like it's just a different video game. Where Grand Theft Auto is like, no, this is a shoot, fuck, blow things up sim, and you're like,
Yeah.
hell yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe that is just that context. When it makes you think about it, some of it drags out, some of it doesn't.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like, I honestly don't know. But I mean, we do know there's been an uptick in mass shooters. And
Man.
something changed. Something's different.
Maybe locking people away for 2 years.
Had something to do with it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even if you're the guy, I know Wait Down's in the chat, yeah, and I think the same thing about the same thing, but there's a lot that don't get reported, man. I'm seeing just a ton. I'm in it just like somehow the algorithm of, maybe it's a part of the plan, but the algorithm of all these different cities, including my own, and just some of the news. I mean, people are spazzing, man.
Well, did you hear there was one that was stopped recently?
I did hear about that.
Yeah, that was good news. Some guy
Yeah.
just fucking took care of that like nothing.
And I mean, but it shows you it is a common thing. And I'm starting to think, and I don't know if it was you or somebody said, like, man, we gotta stop publicizing it, because it is what they want, right? And it is,
Well, yeah.
There's- like, regardless of what you think about the gun control, that's a separate argument. I'm just saying there are that many crazy people in this country, yes, because there's 300 million of us, and therefore, percentage wise, there are that many. And so anything that cannot push them over the edge would be best, or could somehow identify them quicker and
identify them quicker. Yeah, no, 100%. And it's just like, it's been the old thing was just don't put their name out there, don't put their face out there, because that's what these people want, and it's going to spawn the next one. It's going to spawn the next match.
Because there's people who don't care about themselves, basically, and they're like, okay, I'll
they're
go
crazy
do it.
people. They're fucking crazy people. They're desperate and angry.
Yeah. And I think, I just don't
don't care.
publicize it, please.
Don't. Yes. So, all right. That was a wonderful show.
Yeah. All right, we got to go because life and real life.
Life in real life.
Yeah. All right, but
Love you all.
Yeah, we do love you all. Thank you for joining. We'll do a live stream soon. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged, share and subscribe. Both to me and Matt. And even if you do, and Luke.
Hi, Lukey.
And then
He's
if you
fat.
don't do any of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night. God bless. Peace.
Peace.